Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Charles Sabansi, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show. We cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got a pretty disheartening show. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel, and be sure to hit all notifications to be notified the second we drop our content so you don't miss anything. So as you guys know, the playoffs are kicking off this Saturday. I'm hyped. For some interesting games finally. But one of the series I'm really keyed in on is the series between the Los Angeles Clippers and the Dallas Mavericks. Now, going into it, I think 6 out of every 10 people believe the Mavericks are going to come out victorious in this series. At least that's the information that we got from the poll that we ran, with thousands of people voting on that poll. But I personally believe that the Clippers have a chance. But a lot of that is contingent upon the availability of Kawhi Leonard, who missed the final 8 games of the regular season due to inflammation in his knee. So we've been kind of prying the coach, the Clippers head coach, Ty Lue, to get some information, but he's been pretty tight-lipped until yesterday when I came across a show, I think from Hoops Pharaoh or something like that, where they published a video of general manager and I think it's general manager and basketball president Lawrence Frank, where he specifically spoke about the status of Kawhi Leonard in terms of his availability for round 1 versus the Dallas Mavericks. And he was talking, he wasn't 100% doom and gloom, but it was a bit disheartening that, we couldn't get a concrete update on whether or not Kawhi Leonard is going to be available for game 1. So for those of you who didn't hear what Lawrence Frank had to say, I want to play for you now and then come back and react to his comments. Take a listen to what Lawrence Frank had to say there.
I'm here just to talk about Kawhi. No real update per se, but I know obviously it's a question you guys ask T. Lue all the time. So just wanted to be a bit of context, and if you have any questions, feel free to fire away. Obviously, Kawhi's been dealing with inflammation for almost 3 weeks in his right knee. He's doing everything. Our medical staff is doing everything to get the inflammation down so he can play. Progress has been made, but more progress the inflammation needs to continue to reduce so he can do functional basketball movements. We're hopeful it's going to get there. In terms of practice participation, I know you guys have asked Ty, he's able to do all the mental preparation part of it, the film study, the personnel review, hasn't done any contact, and we'll just take it day by day. And I know from your guys' standpoint, you guys have to ask the questions. The one thing I share with you is that inflammation is unpredictable. So we'd love to have a crystal ball, and Kawhi would love to have a crystal ball and know exactly on this day, but you just control what you can control, and hopefully the inflammation reduces in a short amount of time, and he's back on the court. That's the goal.
There's a report today that he received an injection to that knee to reduce the inflammation.
Yeah, we don't comment on any specific treatments, obviously. What I'd share with you, Ohm, is he's doing everything he can, and we're doing everything we can medically, but specific treatments, regardless of the player, we would never comment.
Can this be likened to the actions he had I think last year, I think he played a couple games that had inflammation in that knee, was out for about 4 weeks. Can it be likened kind of to that?
Different. Yeah, different. Everything structurally is in a really good place. So this is just, like I said, it's just some very, very stubborn inflammation.
What was the timeline of when this kind of started? I mean, when did you guys notice it was something you tried to play on at all?
Just towards right at the end of the East Coast trip.
Okay.
Lawrence, from what you've heard from the medical staff or coaches, would he be able to play on Sunday?
He'll be questionable for Sunday. Like I said, and I'm trying to be as transparent as possible. It's just very unpredictable. So like if things continue to get better and better, there's a chance. So we'll be hopeful, but just to get ahead of it, he'll be questionable for game 1.
Would you guys have to? I mean, it'd be hard to just throw him in if he hasn't done a lot of contact out here yet, right?
Yeah, it's Thursday though. Right, so in terms of based on where we're heading, is it possible he could play? Sure, it's possible. It's Thursday, and like I said, with each day, we'll know more and more.
Yeah. But obviously it's the playoffs, so the stakes are high. But you guys are always very careful with your athletes and guys like Kawhi. So mean, is there any differentiate? Look, if this is a Tuesday in October versus now.
Look, we'll never put an athlete on the court if they're at risk for injury. And as you guys know, especially you guys who are around Kawhi every day, this guy lives for these moments. You know, he played 68 games this year. He's done a ton of heavy lifting, and he prepares himself to be his best when his best is needed. So he's going to do like he has everything in his power to get on the court. Obviously, if he's not healthy to play at a certain moment, then he won't be out there. And that's kind of been since Kawhi's tenure, and that's kind of what we've shared through the course of this, is that when Kawhi's healthy, he plays. And some things you can't control, regardless of how meticulous he is with his body and everything that goes into playing. They're just, you can only control what you can control, and you kind of got to surrender to the things you can.
If he is healthy to play.
Has there been any level of setback, or has everything been smooth ever since he stopped playing after the Charlotte game?
Yeah, I think the thing with it is, like I said, is you're hopeful that the inflammation. I think we've seen some progress here recently, and we're hoping that it continues to go in that direction.
So you heard what he said, right? He's saying that most likely Kawhi Leonard is going to be, I think, questionable for the tip-off on Sunday. I believe they start their series on Sunday versus the Dallas Mavs in LA. But then, as I was doing some research, I also came across some other information from Shams Charania, or Karania, I hope I pronounce his name properly, where he was giving a status update, and it was also published on Bleacher Report, where he essentially said that there's actually growing optimism around Kawhi Leonard returning. But most importantly, he said that Kawhi Leonard has been participating in some practice and some physical activities. So what we want to do is want to quickly play what he had to say. It's only about a minute or so, and then really get into the show. Take a listen to what he had to say here.
What do you have in regards between the Clippers and the Mavs in that series?
My sense is there is cautious optimism that Kawhi Leonard, who's been out since March 31st, will be ready for Game 1 against the Mavericks on Sunday. Sources tell me Leonard received an injection in his knee to alleviate inflammation in that knee. And after a period of rest, he's been ramping up. He's been getting on-court workouts in over the last week or so. Some pretty intense workouts Kawhi Leonard has been doing, and he has been participating in practice this week as the Clippers continue to ramp him up for that game on Sunday. But this is a big postseason as well for the Clippers. Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, Paul George, Russell Westbrook. This is a team that obviously has championship aspirations, facing off against the Dallas Mavericks team that's arguably been one of the best in the league in the second half of the season, around Kyrie Irving, Luka Doncic, PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford, and a host of rotation players that they're really building this team around.
So you heard all the information there. What are my thoughts? Well, as I've been following the news, Ty Lue said he's been kind of doing stuff that's more related to scouting reports and stuff like that. I didn't hear Ty Lue mention anything about any physical, Kawhi Leonard participating in any physical activities. Though Ty Lue said they're going to scrimmage, I believe, today, if I'm not mistaken. So that's that. Ty Lue said that. Lawrence Frank said, Kawhi Leonard, it's unclear. But in the case of Shams, he's saying that, no, he's been taking place in some physical activity. So one thing that could possibly be true is that Shams is lying, or Ty Lue and Lawrence Frank are being pretty tight-lipped to keep the Mavericks off balance, where they don't know if Kawhi Leonard is going to be. You see, if they don't know Kawhi Leonard is going to be available, then they're going to probably game plan for him not being available. And if a tip-off, you hear that he's going to be available, then it may throw a little wrench in their, in their preparation. But I'm 100% sure that Jason Kidd and those guys are going to prepare either way. But it may be a psychological edge that the Clippers want to get by kind of catching the Dallas Mavericks off guard by just bringing Kawhi Leonard out, on the day of a tip-off, and you just see him there versus, hearing in advance that, hey, listen, Kawhi Leonard is going to be available. So to me, it's still a bit disheartening because we can't get a concrete answer out of the organization. And hey, it's up to them. It's up to them to decide whether or not they want to put that out there. My hunch is, and I could be wrong, I have been wrong in the past, but my hunch is I think Kawhi is going to be available. If you listen to Lawrence Frank, he's like, this is Thursday. It's Thursday. Well, you have Friday, you have Saturday, which is today and tomorrow. And then they kick off on Sunday. And then I think they're going to be at home. So there's not going to be really any traveling that's going to be taking place. So just me trying to be a bit optimistic I believe that he's going to be available, although it is incredible, quite frankly, to be back in this situation again a year later when essentially Kawhi Leonard left the playoffs after just 2 games. So hopefully everything is okay. I have the Clippers winning that series if he is available. We're going to get to our prediction show a little bit later today, so you definitely want to stick around for that. But what I want to know from you guys in the interim is, what do you think about this news? And ultimately, do you think Kawhi is going to be available for Game 1? Whatever you guys think, leave your thoughts in the comment section. We catch you on the next show. Peace.